ARES. My name is Charles. I'm going to be your net control station this evening for the Carroll County ARES Income Net. This net meets every Thursday night at 8 p.m. local time on the W4FWD repeater on 146.640 megahertz with a negative offset and a 131.8 hertz of audible tone. The purpose of this net is to provide training and information as it relates to emergency communications and providing such communications assistance to various local, state, national public service agencies in addition to our public constituents there in the event of an actual emergency. Anyone not wishing to participate in this net is asked to please keep the frequency clear for net operations. However, all amateur radio operators are welcome to participate in this net. You do not have to be a member of ARES or the WTARS to participate in this net. This is a directed net, so please direct all traffic through net control or the designated station. If you wish to pass emergency or priority traffic during the net, please say the word break twice and the frequency be turned over to you for the duration of the emergency. I'll now stand by for anyone with emergency or priority traffic. TS formatted messages may also be initiated or passed on this net. If there are any stations wishing to list traffic for the net, please call net control now. Into this net, say this is. Unkey the mic to make sure you're not doubling with another station. If you do not hear anyone else talking, proceed to give your call sign first phonetically and then normally along with your name, your location, and if you have any comments, announcements, or traffic for the net. And please, if you, I'm writing all this down, so if you would please give me this information at transcribing speed, I would appreciate it. At this time, we will take check-ins from any mobile or portable stations wishing to check in. All mobile and portable stations wishing to check in, call net control now.
This is Whiskey Charlie 4 Echo Echo. That's WC4EE. Lonnie in Carrollton, Georgia. Portable tonight.
This is Kilo X-Ray 4 Juliet India, KX4JI. Tillman Carrollton, I'm portable tonight.
All right, let me recognize WC4EE, Mr. Lonnie out of Carrollton. Good to hear you tonight, Mr. Lonnie. And KX4JI, Mr. Tim out of Carrollton. It's good to hear you tonight, too, Mr. Tim. Any other, let's see here, mobile or portable stations out there wishing to check in, call net control now. All righty, hearing none, I'm going to proceed with the regular net check-ins. So, just remember to please give your call sign both phonetically and normally along with your name and your location. So any stations out there that begin with the letters Alpha, November, or Whiskey, please call net control now.
This is Whiskey X-Ray 4 Bravo Kilo WX4BK Brian and Temple.
This is Whiskey Delta 8 Lima Quebec Tango WDH LQT John Fairfield. Good evening, Charlie.
This is Alpha India 4 Romeo Tango AI 4RT John Peachtree City, and good evening to Charles to the net.
This is November 4 Bravo Whiskey Romeo and 4 BWR Blake and Carrollton.
not mistaken, but, help out an old guy here. John, was that Jerry out of Bowden?
Let's see if I got it. Can you hear me now?
Okay, now I can hear you. Yes, sir. If you would come back to me a little bit, I had a little problem catching your call sign.
Interesting. I don't know if I got a problem with my radio or what, or if I was double the fine. I don't know. Anyway, and for GPW, Jerry and Bob. Good to meet you.
Harry, it's not with your radio, it's not with your issues, it's me, hearing and transmitting this onto the pen, getting it onto the paper, so that's what the issues is. While I've got the net, let me recognize WH4BK, Mr. Brian out of Temple, WD8LQT, Mr. John out of Fairfield, AI4RT, Mr. John out of Peachtree City, N4BWR, Mr. Blake out of Carrollton, and for GPW, Mr. Jerry out of Bowden. Glad to have y'all signing in. Any other Alpha November whiskey stations out there wishing to check in, please call net control now.
This is number 4, Charlie, India Papa. And 4 CIP, Scott and Douglasville. Good news, everyone.
N4 CIP, Mr. Scott out near Douglasville. Any other Alpha November whiskeys, call net control now. Alrighty, let's hop around here and go for the kilo stations. All kilo stations out there wishing to check in, please call net control now. This is Kilo Echo 4 Oscar Bravo Echo KE4 OBE, and this is Mike in Carrollton. Good evening, everyone.
This is Kilo November 4, Hotel Echo Uniform. KN4, HE Clay in Douglasville.
This is Kilo Mike 4 Uniform Papa X-Ray, KM4 UPX, Brian and Clint.
Alrighty, let me jump in here and recognize KE4 OBE, Mr. Mike out of Carrollton. It's good to hear you tonight, Mike. KN4 HEU, Mr. Clay out of Douglasville. And KM4 UPX, Mr. Brian out of Quill. Any other stations, any prefix wishing to check into tonight's net, please call net control now.
This is Kilo November 4 India Zulu Whiskey, KN4 IZW, Sean in Douglasville.
This is Kilo November 4, Foxtrot Romeo Papa, KN4 FRP, Richard in Whitesburg.
Alright, let me recognize KN4 ICW, Sean out of Douglasville, and KN4 FRP, Mr. Richard out of Whitesburg. Any other stations, any prefix wishing to check in, please call net control now. This is KI4CS on the W4FWD repeater. We'll now move on to the announcements portion for the net. So anyone with announcements for the net, please call into the net and give us all your announcements.
WD8LQT.
Recognizing WD8LQT, Brother John, the net's yours.
I hope I don't sound like a broken record, but hey, thanks to everybody that turned out for the meeting this week, Tuesday night, and we did a lot of planning. So I got a couple of announcements here. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. will be the breakfast at the Trading Post Restaurant in Villa Rica, 9 a.m. Saturday, so hope to see you all there. It will be at the VFW Fairgrounds in Carrollton. We'll begin setup at 10 a.m. and we'll be operating from 2 p.m. Saturday until approximately 2 p.m. Sunday. We were able to round up a number of rigs at the meeting Tuesday night, and I think a good time's going to be had by all. There will not be a Pico balloon launch at this event, however. Waiting on the equipment to show up to do that. The plan was to move that off into February, have a fox hunt and a Pico balloon launch, kind of wrap up the fox hunt. So I think that's all I got, Charlie. Again, I hate to sound like a broken record, and a reminder about WGARS dues. You can take care of those online or with the P.O. box. Thank you, Charlie. WD8LQT.
Thank you, John. We've got to go over these things. A lot of people with our, I guess the static that we deal with day to day, we need to be reminded of what's coming up. Hearing no more, is there anybody else with announcements? Call net control now. Okay, hearing the fact that we have no one with announcements, we'll now move on to the training portion of that. We'll be calling on WX4BK. Do you have any training material for tonight's net, sir?
Thank you, Charles. Good evening, Charles, and everyone on the net. Going to briefly talk about nets and one particular type. We hold a Monday net on this repeater that's sort of a chit-chat net where folks get to talk about what's happened during the week, and we have this one where we do a little bit of training for emergency communications, and then, of course, in both of those nets, we allow for announcements, and then something called passing traffic. There are actually nets dedicated to passing traffic, but I realize that, again, some of our newer members may not be aware exactly what does that mean. And what that has to do with is something called the National Traffic System. And the National Traffic System is been around almost as long as amateur radio, and it's a means by which we can take a message from one person and get it transmitted to another part of the country or another part of the world in an organized way. And the way the National Traffic System works is, I'm going to kind of do it from here up. Somebody here may want to send a message to another person, and they fill out something called a radiogram. We won't go into that too much now, but it's kind of like a telegram. And a amateur radio operator may then introduce that traffic into the traffic system by casting it on any traffic net. Technically, we function as a traffic net by opening ourselves up for someone to introduce traffic. As such, usually somebody who has HF capability will pick up that message and pass it on to a section net. A section is roughly equivalent to a state in most cases, certainly is in Georgia. And there's actually regularly scheduled traffic nets for the state of Georgia. And so somebody who picks up a message on a local net would then tune into that HF net and put a request on that net for someone to pick it up, to pass it on further along the line. Let's say you wanted to move a message to California. You could introduce that message here. Somebody here would then check into the session net on HF. Somebody would pick it up there and pass it on to what's called a regional net, which covers a whole chunk of the U.S., say the southeast, southwest, northeast. So somebody would, at the state level, would then check into a regional net. Somebody in our regional net would then pass it on to somebody in another region where the destination is, or perhaps in an area net, which allows you to move traffic between regions and areas. So at that point, what would happen is the message would, let me cycle. At that point, the person who picked up the message at the other end would send it down in a similar manner, find somebody in that state to pick it up, who may deliver it, or may then pass it down to somebody at the local level who would then pick it up and deliver it. Of course, all of this takes some time, and in the days of email and text messaging, it's definitely a much slower method. However, in an emergency situation where normal communications may be knocked out in a given area, this provides a means to pick up that message and move it outside the affected area to where it can then be delivered to people who may not have been affected by a local or regional emergency. So anyway, that's what the traffic system is. We're going to talk a little bit about what a radiogram is and how somebody might actually, in the real world, move some traffic along. But that's it for tonight's presentation. I have emailed this information as well to those on the ARES reflector. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Net Control for late check-in before we go to the roundtable.
Alrighty, this is KI4CS. We're on W4FWD repeater. Is there any stations out there that have not checked in that wish to get on the roll tonight? Please call Net Control now.
This is Kilo Victor 4 Tango Echo, KV4T, Jason is on record.
Recognizing KV4TE, Brother Jason out of Villarica. Any other station wishing to check in, call Net Control now. We're going to rotate back over and turn the net back to WX4VK for the roundtable portion of the net. WX4VK, the net's yours.
Thank you again, Charles. All right, anybody with any questions, comments regarding tonight's topic or anything else for the good of the cause, please call now.
N4BWR.
N4BWR, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, just speaking of nets, I want to put a call out, or just in general, people can let me know at any time. I still need Monday net control for February, and I will also point out that I'm going to be gone for, I believe, the second week of February, so really need somebody else to be net control for Mondays in February. Back to you, N4BWR.
Alrighty, come on, somebody out there volunteer for February.
I'll take it if nobody else, Bill. WD&LQT.
one there if somebody else doesn't step forward here over the next couple of weeks. Anybody else with any questions, comments, or anything else for the good of the cause, please call now. Okay, I'm assuming net control got that check in. Anybody else have any questions or comments related to tonight's topic or anything else for the good of the cause, please call now. I can't remember if John mentioned it or not, but there's the breakfast at the Trading Post on Saturday if he didn't do that. With that, I'll hand it back over to Net to wrap things up. And thanks again, Charles, and everyone who checked into the Net. WX4BK, back to Net.
All right, I want to recognize KN4OSO, Brother Phil out of Lionsville, Alabama, for checking in. Any other stations out there wishing to check into the night's net, please call Net Control in. All righty, hearing none, we'd like to thank Tim Jones and the WGARS for the use of the W4FWD repeater. There were 16 stations, including myself. We'll now close this section of the Carroll County ARES Income Net at 8:22 and turn the frequency back to normal amateur use. All stations may secure at this time. This is KI4CS Net Control for the Carroll County ARES Income Net. 73, all you Hampshire, see you at Saturday at breakfast. This is KI4CS, and I'm clear.